Hi there, I'm Christine Dunbar from speechmodification.com, and this is my Smart American Accent training. Welcome to our live Friday class, where we take your questions regarding American accent, American English pronunciation, intonation, and we show you resources and ideas to improve your overall personal and professional communication in American English. If you're new to class, welcome. All you have to do if you have a question is type it in the chat and I will go through and answer your questions. People will often ask about words that they find difficult to pronounce or questions they have from videos they've seen. They might ask about sounds. It's a wide variety of questions. So you can ask anything that's on your mind regarding American English pronunciation and American accent. And each week we have different topics that we cover that will be useful for you for overall improvement in your American accent. Today on my YouTube channel page, I was asking people to select from a list of words about what they might find difficult to pronounce. And so far, the top contender was the word protocol. So in just a few minutes, we'll be talking about the pronunciation of that word. And it's a great one because it will look at several of the things that we've been talking about recently, which is looking at spelled vowel letters versus vowel sounds, as well as the American flap T, which is something that many of you struggle with, or not necessarily struggle with, but want to know more about and want to be able to pronounce correctly. And yes, I'll also be showing you a number of resources on my website, speechmodification.com, as well as here on YouTube. So feel free to ask your questions. I see there's already a few coming in. I'll get to those in just a moment. I also want to invite you to join my upcoming 6-week class. So I have online classes on my website that are video courses where you go through, you watch the videos, and you complete the lessons on your own. But I also have live classes in person here in the Seattle area where we come together as a group. And those classes I customize for the needs of the people in the group. So we cover a lot of the fundamentals of American accent, teach you about patterns in your speech, give you feedback, teach you how to practice. And now I'm going to be doing that class, opening it up to anyone everywhere in the world, because we are not meeting in person anymore. And so we'll be doing it in an online format. And I just published a video last week giving you a little sneak preview of how that will look. So you can check that out on my channel page. And we'll meet in video conference. So I'll be able to hear you and see you. You can ask your questions like you do in this class, but I will be able to hear you live and give you specific feedback on your pronunciation. We'll also be going through my online 6-week course together in that live class. So you have the resources and lessons from the online course to use in the group class. I'll talk about it again towards the end of class today. But if you have any questions about that, or if you're curious, you think you might want to check it out, feel free to contact me and I'll send you some more information and I invite all of you to join that class. So nice to see you, everyone. Bernice wants to know if I could explain words like correctly, exactly, definitely, and completely. Yes, Bernice, thank you for coming back and asking your question again. I know you asked those last week and we ran out of time at the end of class. So I'm wondering, you do want to know about pronouncing them, I see. So rather than the different meanings. So correctly, exactly, definitely, completely, the pattern that we can see in all of these words is that they have this at the end. Correctly, exactly. Some of them have CT, exactly and correctly, and definitely and completely don't have the C, but they all have the TLY ending. Let's see. Let's start with correctly. If I say, I just said that now correctly with the pronounced T, and that's typically more the British style. So Americans will often say correctly, where they don't release that T sound. And so you may not hear the T sound because I'm not saying correctly, because when I go from the T to the L, it's challenging to make that sequence of movements. So what Americans will do is they'll say correctly, where we almost even don't make that K either. What I do is I stop the air further back in my mouth. I lift my tongue up for the T, and then I release it right into the L. So it sounds like correctly, where I'm not saying correctly. The K and the T sounds get stopped back in the throat. So I do have a lot of videos to help you with the stopped T, teach you how to say words like hot and that. And in those words, I'm not saying hot. My tongue doesn't come down to release the air from T. I'm just saying hot, that. Same thing with correctly. I'm not making those sounds. I'm just stopping the air and then releasing with my tongue into the L. So those are challenging words, exactly, correctly. I would say start with my videos for stop T. And you can find those on the channel page. Also, if you go to speechmodification.com, I'll just show you quickly where you can find that, because you might find that helpful as well. When I go to my website, speechmodification.com, what you want to look at for any of your questions is going to this free practice area and clicking on online practice free trial. Then you can use the search box and look for your idea. So if I put in, for example, stop T, it'll show me the lessons related to that information. And I can say, okay, past tense verbs, stop T, voiceless stops. Let's look at that one. So it's talking about how I end those words and how I can change that accent pattern. So it'll give you some details on what we do with T at the ends of words. And that is pretty much what happens in those words as well. So same for your words definitely and completely. Those are actually a little bit easier. So I would start with those two, definitely and completely. Go up to make the T and release into the L. Then begin with correctly and exactly. Those are a little tougher. Great. Thank you for the question. And again, thank you for coming back and your patience since I wasn't able to answer that question last week. Nice to see everyone. Thank you for all the greetings. Javier wants to know how to pronounce veterinary. That's a tough one. It's also tough to spell, veterinary. This is one I think where we don't really match the letters to the sounds, veterinary. So I don't really say this E. It's a place where it looks like it should be veterinary. And I think most Americans reduce that and they say it more like veterinary. So first syllable stress, long, veterinary, short, veterinary. So watching out that this ARY is an air diphthong. I have to have enough length there to get all of those sounds, veterinary. Thank you, that's a good word. And I think I'll add that to my list of videos to make, which is getting to be rather long. I haven't had a lot of time to make new videos of late, been very busy, but I do keep track of the requests and comments, and I really love all the comments I'm seeing on my videos and on my Facebook posts because it helps me know what topics to cover in class and how I can help you best. So thank you for your questions and comments. Nay has a question. Words like bird, bear, beer, and beard. Okay, good question. So similar beginning and end sounds. Bird, even though I spelled that with IR, it has the vowel. So if I'm going to say the word bird, I would start with then I would add my B, burr, and then I would add my D, bird, versus bear has the air diphthong, just like we were talking in veterinary. And so again, I can start with because there's an within the air. So I would do air, bear. Beer has the ear diphthong. Again, I would do ear, beer. And finally, beard also has the ear diphthong. So I would do ear, beer, beard. So one way to know is to look up in the dictionary to see what the letters before the R make it do. In some cases, we just have only the sound. In other cases, we have what's called a diphthong, which glides between two vowels. So air or ear, those are both diphthongs. Good set of words. Thank you for your question. And thank you again. I see another question that I didn't get to last week, which was for the words boar, and boer. And these two are the same, and but boer has an oo, diphthong. So a boer is has a different, it doesn't have just the O, it has the oo sound first. And I want to just double check that because I think that there's a British versus an American pronunciation of boer. And so I'll use this opportunity to show you one of my favorite resources, which is using online dictionaries to check pronunciation. And I do it all the time when people are asking me questions because I want to verify the way I pronounce something versus other options for that. The dictionary that I like is the Oxford Learner's Dictionary because it will show me American and British pronunciation. And for many people, you may have learned the British pronunciation or your dialect of English might be more similar to British. It can really help with especially those vowel sounds and R sounds to know about those differences. So when I look at the word boer, it's wanting to correct it to boot. And what I'm trying to see is, stop correcting it. I'm wanting to see if boer has the same pronunciation as boot, the same oo vowel. And in this dictionary, it's saying it's more of an vowel, like in could and should. And that would be more like boer. I believe that's a little bit difficult to say. So I'm going to check I have to turn up my volume. So I would like to listen to that's another reason I like this dictionary is I can listen as well as reading the symbols. And what I find sometimes is that I can read the symbols and that would say it's more like boer, but that's may or may not.
Boer.
Yeah, that is kind of how they're saying it. Boer. But I'm questioning, I think it is a little bit like the British boer. All right, well, that's a little bit slow today. It's probably my internet. So go for something a little bit between the oo and the in boer. And in general, in your question, the first two, boar and boar, just have the O, OR, and the next one has more of an oor, another vowel before it. Great, okay. Another question is the word behind. So again, we have a diphthong and the stress in this word is on the hind syllable. And that's the diphthong I, just like in the word I am. In the IPA symbols, you'll see it like that because it goes from to I. And behind, we have the vowel because this first syllable is unstressed. So I don't typically say behind with an E vowel, even though I spell it with an E. I say behind, short, long. Watch out too to make sure that your D doesn't drop off. Many times in words that have multiple consonants at the end, you may have a tendency to either say behind without the D or behind where the D might become more of a T sound. Nice to see you again as well, Siddhant. He would like to know about the words very, very, and various. So these two words, very, like I'm very happy, and vary, like conditions vary, have the same pronunciation. They both have diphthong air that we were talking about just a moment ago. And same with various. Various has the air, various, and then an E, us, with a schwa at the end. Various, first syllable stress. Your other question is the oi in the word coin. That's the same vowel as in words like boy and toy. And there is a word koi, which may be easier for you to say if you can go from the O, the rounded shape, to the I shape. You're just closing oi, and reducing, going from a tense to more lax vowel. So try boy, koi, coin. And then I'm just closing all the way to that N sound. Yes, that's another diphthong. We have a lot of diphthongs, vowel questions today. That's wonderful. Javier would like to know about the word process as a noun and as a verb. And this is a word in American English that for the letter O, we say an ah sound. So I actually say process, first syllable stress. So we have a long syllable, process. Process. I think I do it a little bit like a S sound, process. And this is not a verb that changes syllable stress for nouns and verbs. So some words like project, the noun, has first syllable stress, project, versus nouns and verbs in the syllable stress, and in some words we don't. And you can see I have a video explaining words like project and project, and a lesson for that on my web now. And I like this word as an example because its sounds and vowel spelling are different. When I say vowels in English, people often think about A, E, I, O, and U. And those are the letters, that we use to represent